Ethan's world was a tapestry of simple joys. Racing barefoot through dew-kissed meadows with his ragtag band of friends, their laughter echoing like birdsong. Lying on his back in the wildflower fields, tracing shapes in the drifting clouds that morphed from dragons to distant ships, and perching on the old oak by the brook, listening to the symphony of rustling leaves and the brook's silvery murmur. But beneath this idyllic surface lurked a shadow that gnawed at his spirit: studying. School, with its towering stacks of textbooks and the relentless tick of the classroom clock, felt like a foreign realm, one where Ethan's mind rebelled like a caged bird beating against iron bars. No matter how fiercely he tried, hunching over his desk until his candle burned low, scribbling notes that blurred into nonsense, the words danced away, elusive as fireflies at twilight. Mathematics twisted into knots he couldn't untangle, history's dates scattered like autumn leaves in a gale. His classmates, with their sharp tongues and sharper smirks, turned his stumbles into spectacles. Lost in the clouds again, Ethan. They'd jeer during recess, their voices slicing through the playground's clamor like shards of glass. Each mockery chipped away at the boy he was, leaving behind a hollow ache of doubt. By his third year in secondary school, Ethan had convinced himself he was irreparably broken, a dull pebble in a stream of glittering stones, destined to sink unnoticed. One crisp autumn afternoon, as golden leaves pirouetted from the branches like confetti from the gods, school bells tolled their release. The corridors emptied in a torrent of chatter and slamming lockers, but Ethan lingered, his footsteps heavy as he approached the philosophy classroom at the end of the hall. Sunlight slanted through dust-moted windows, casting elongated shadows that danced like specters on the worn wooden floors. There, seated at his desk amid stacks of leather-bound tomes and a half-finished sketch of ancient ruins, was Mr. Elias Harris, the philosophy teacher whose reputation preceded him like a gentle fog. With his silver-streaked beard framing a face etched by years of quiet wisdom, and eyes that sparkled like polished agates, Mr. Harris seemed less a man and more a bridge to forgotten eras. He looked up from his quill, his gaze softening as Ethan hovered in the doorway, shoulders slumped like a wilted sapling. "Sir," Ethan murmured, his voice a fragile thread in the hush, I want to talk to you about something." He shuffled forward, the floorboards creaking in sympathy, and sank into the chair opposite, fingers twisting the frayed hem of his sweater. Mr. Harris set aside his pen, folding his hands with the deliberate grace of a conductor before an orchestra. "Come now, Ethan. Sit. The heart speaks clearest in stillness. What weighs on you?" The words tumbled out then, a dam breaking after too long held back. "Sir, I'm really bad at studying. I can't remember anything. I try, but my mind, it wanders off like a stray dog. And focusing, it's impossible. Honestly, I feel hopeless. Like I'll never be good enough. If you could, just give me some advice." A warm smile creased the teacher's face, lines deepening like rivers carving canyons through time. "Ah, Ethan, you're far from alone in this tempest. Many a brilliant soul has wrestled with the same gale. But hear me, the mind is not a fractured vase, beyond mending, it's a wild river, needing only the right banks to flow true. If your heart yearns for change, it shall come. Today, I share with you 5 simple yet profound lessons, drawn from the quiet wisdom of the world. They will tame the chaos within and awaken the hidden power of your focused mind." Mr. Harris rose, his movements fluid as a willow in the breeze, and fetched a small glass bottle from a shelf lined with curiosities, a vial of iridescent sand, a feather from some exotic bird. This one held murky water, swirling with silt like a storm trapped in miniature. Lesson 1. Calm your mind. He placed it before Ethan. "What do you see?" "Dirty water, sir," Ethan replied, peering close, the earthy scent rising faintly, mingling with the room's aroma of aged paper and beeswax. "Indeed. Now, let us wait." They sat in companionable silence, the only sounds the distant coo of pigeons on the sill and the soft rhythm of their breaths. An hour slipped by like sand through fingers. Ethan fidgeted at first, but gradually, the world's clamor faded. When Mr. Harris lifted the bottle again, the sediment had surrendered, pooling at the base in defeat, leaving the water above crystalline and still. "And now?" the teacher prompted. Ethan's eyes widened, breath catching. "It's clear. Like glass." "Precisely, Mr. Harris intoned, his voice a soothing balm. "Your mind mirrors this bottle, Ethan, churned by the mud of worries, fears, and 1,000 fleeting thoughts, until clarity drowns in the murk. But stillness is your ally. Before you open a book, pause. Close those sea blue eyes for 5 minutes. Inhale the earth's quiet gifts, deep, slow breaths, in through the nose like drawing in the hills fresh mist, out through the mouth like exhaling the day's burdens. Let thoughts drift by, unbidden guests, neither chased nor clung to. In that calm, your true sharpness emerges, ready to carve paths through the fog. Ethan nodded, a spark igniting in his chest, faint but real. Without pause, Mr. Harris lit a beeswax candle, its flame leaping to life with a soft hiss, casting flickering golden halos on the walls. Lesson 2, focus on the present. He slid it across the desk. Gaze upon this flame, Ethan. Let it be your world entire. No past regrets, no future phantoms, only this dance of light. Ethan leaned in, the warmth kissing his cheeks like a summer sigh. At first, his mind rebelled. Visions of jeering faces, the sting of a failed quiz, the what-ifs piling like storm clouds. But he persisted, eyelids heavy, until the flame held him captive, a tiny sun, pulsing with secrets. Minutes stretched, the room's edges blurred, time dissolving into the flame's hypnotic sway. "See, Mr. Harris whispered, as if afraid to shatter the spell. The past is a ghost, long buried, the future, a mirage on the horizon. What we possess is this breath, this beat of the heart, the eternal now. When studying claims you, and your thoughts stray like wayward sheep, do not berate them. Gently, as one recalls a wandering child, guide them home to the page. Practice this tethering daily, it forges chains unbreakable, binding distraction in its place." Emboldened, Ethan felt the weight lift, if only a fraction. Next, the teacher procured a sea sponge, soft and yielding as a cloud's underbelly, and a smooth granite rock, cool and unyielding to the touch. From a pitcher, he poured water, clear rivulets that vanished into the sponge's porous heart, leaving it plump and glistening, while beads raced down the rock's impervious surface, pooling in futile defiance. Lesson 3, understand, don't merely memorize. Ethan touched the sodden sponge, marveling at its transformation. Like, it drinks the knowledge. Mr. Harris chuckled, a rumble like distant thunder over the hills. Aptly said. Too many treat learning as a rote chant, etching words on stone hearts that shed them come dawn, like this rock, defiant yet empty. But true mastery, it's absorption, connection. When algebra looms, don't parrot formulas, envision them as bridges spanning your town's rivers, carrying dreams across. Ask, why, as a explorer quests for treasure, relate, imagine, weave. Examples from your world. The sponge remembers because it becomes, so shall you. The fourth lesson arrived with a sturdy oak block, its grain swirling like frozen waves, heavy in Ethan's palms. Break it, Mr. Harris urged. Ethan strained, veins bulging, sweat beading on his brow, but the wood mocked his efforts, solid as the hills themselves. With a whittling knife, the teacher carved it into slender splinters, each snap a small victory, the block reduced to kindling in moments. Lesson 4, break it into small parts. Mr. Harris' eyes twinkled. Monoliths overwhelm, Ethan, they crush the spirit like an avalanche. But fragment the mountain, chip away at chapters in whispers, 20 minutes at dawn's light, then wander the meadows for respite. Employ the Pomodoro's rhythm, focused bursts amid breaths of freedom. Boredom flees the feast of small triumphs, what was impenetrable becomes a path strewn with petals. Finally, 2 clay pots, humble vessels cradling dark soil, entered the tale. Into each, Mr. Harris pressed sunflower seeds, their husks rough as whispered promises. One he tended daily, a gentle drizzle from a tin can, coaxing the earth to yield. The other he ignored, its thirst unmet. Days blurred into a week, the nurtured pot birthed tender green shoots, arching toward the sun like supplicants in prayer, while its twin lay barren, cracked lips pleading silence. Lesson 5, practice regularly. The teacher's voice softened to a reverent hush. Seeds demand not floods, but faithful sips, the steady rain that swells roots unseen. Devote 20 minutes each eve to your books, no more, no less. Skip a day, and the soil hardens, persist, and growth compounds, a quiet alchemy turning effort to bloom. Intensity flares and fades like your candle, consistency endures, a river carving canyons through stone. Over the ensuing weeks, Willowbrook's hills donned autumn's fiery garb as Ethan wove these lessons into his days. Mornings began in his attic room, garroted with slanted beams and the scent of pine from the eaves. 5 minutes of breath, eyes sealed against the world's pull, until his pulse steadied like a metronome. At his scarred oak desk, amid the glow of a lantern's amber halo, he'd summon the flame's focus, past taunts dissolving, future fears banished, only the ink's black rivers before him. History's kings became players in town square dramas, physics, the invisible strings puppeteering wind-tossed leaves. Chapters fractured into digestible morsels, interspersed with strolls where he'd kick pebbles and breathe the crisp air, returning refreshed. And every twilight, without fail, 20 minutes fed his mind's garden, steady, unyielding. Change crept in subtly, like dawn's first blush. Distractions quieted to murmurs, concepts bloomed in his grasp, no longer thorns but roses. Fear's grip loosened, replaced by a tentative joy, the thrill of a solved equation, the satisfaction of a paragraph etched deep. His grades ascended like kites on an updraft, from the basement of the class ledger to its sunlit peaks. Classmates' jibes faltered, replaced by curious glances, but Ethan, once adrift, now steered his own course, confidence a cloak woven from quiet victories. 5 years unfurled like the petals of those imagined sunflowers, carrying Ethan beyond Willowbrook's embrace to the bustling spires of a city university, where he pursued philosophy with the fervor of one reborn. Now 20, with a jaw set firm and eyes alight with purpose, he lectured to wide-eyed freshmen on the mind's untapped reservoirs. In quiet moments, gazing from his window at a skyline etched against star-pricked skies, he'd summon Mr. Harris' voice, a echo across time. Your belief in hard work, the best tools for success. And so, dear reader, if shadows of doubt cloud your own horizons, heed Ethan's odyssey. Seek the stillness before the storm, anchor in the now, absorb as the eager sponge, shatter the monoliths, and nurture daily. The hidden power of a focused mind is no myth, it's a forge where ordinary boys become legends, one breath, one splinter, one seed at a time. In the grand weave of existence, your small efforts are the threads that birth tapestries eternal.